Hello and welcome back to another video. We're going to be reviewing the fight last night in Leeds between Jack Catterall and Josh Taylor. A much better fight than the first one in Glasgow, which was marred with controversy. A little bit of controversy around the scorecards this time, but in my opinion, the right winner. We'll break down the cards, what I scored it, and what's next for both gentlemen. So for me, I had it 115, 113 to Jack Catterall, 7 rounds to 5. The way I got there was a little bit different to other people who scored it that way. I know a lot of people had 5-1 to Jack Catterall after 6. And there was also a few 6-0s out there. I actually had it 4-2 to Jack Catterall through 6 rounds. And then I gave them 3 rounds apiece in the back half of the fight where Josh Taylor clearly came on strong. Catterall looked amazing for the first 6 rounds. He was piecing Taylor up. Every time Catterall threw combinations, Josh Taylor just couldn't live with them. He's throwing that jab out of the southpaw stance, the right hand, throwing it 5-6 times in a row at times. And Taylor was really struggling to, stop his head getting on the end of it, basically. It looked like Taylor's legs were struggling, like maybe he can't hold a shot anymore. That was what the story of the fight was through 6 rounds. I did give Taylor a couple. I was probably being generous to him, in fairness. 5-1 could have probably been 6-0 as well to Jack Catterall. But, all credit to Josh Taylor. He's all heart. I thought he was probably on his way out to losing a stoppage through 6 rounds. But then, he came on so strong, just willed himself forward. That's the experience of being in such hard, grueling fights with, Victor Postol, Jose Ramirez, Regis Prograis, so on and so forth. He came on very, very strong. But for me, I did give it 7 rounds to 5 for Jack Catterall in the end. I think he did just about enough. He was fading a little bit down stretch, but that huge round 11 he had where he hit Taylor with the left hand over the top. He did just do about enough to win the fight, in my opinion. The scorecards, the 117-11 times 2, 9 rounds to 3. For me, they are very wide. I don't really see it being 9 rounds to 3 in any circumstance. But for me, they were a reaction to what happened in Glasgow, 2 and a bit years ago now. Were they favouring Catterall a little bit, maybe? I don't know. It's not as controversial for me. There's not really any controversy around it, actually, in my opinion. The right man got the victory at the end of the day. Catterall got to right his wrong. He's still not been undisputed champion, so, he'll have to live with that one still. But he got the revenge over his man, and that's what he was after at the end of the day. Bob Arum coming and taking the mic afterwards and saying I never bring an American fighter to the UK again. Coming out and saying that it's an absolute disgrace. In my opinion, yes, the cards were wrong and the cards were wide, especially the 117, 111s. But ultimately the right man got the victory. It's as simple as that. Jack Catterall did enough last night to win that fight. It's an interesting scenario that Josh Taylor finds himself in. I think he's a victim of how well and tough he was matched up coming through. And I think at 33, he's just struggling a little bit more on his legs than he once was. Inactivity has plagued him over the past couple of years. He's had injuries. I think he's had problems with his eyes. He's had problems with an ankle. I think he has too. He's fought once before last night since February 2022. So it'd be nice to see him get active again, providing he does want to carry on. For me, for Taylor, he's won all there is to winning the sport, the 4 belts, the Ring magazine. He's in a complete different situation to Jack Catterall, even though they're technically 1-1 in fights, even though we know Jack Catterall won both. So he's probably going to, maybe does he take one and wait to see if Catterall can win a world title and they get the trilogy on? Possibly. But those long, hard, grueling wars that Taylor had on the way up looked like they may have finally caught up with him. Looked like he made the weight a little bit better this time round. 140 pounds looked better on the scale. Had definitely had the fitness, but when Catterall was landing clean left hands, they did look to buzz Josh Taylor. They looked to have a genuine effect on him. It'd be interesting to see where he goes next. For me, the path for Jack Catterall's a lot clearer. He has to go on to world honours now. You have Subriel Mateus, who's a bogeyman and seems to be the man no one wants to talk about in the division. I think you're going to get Devin Haney against Sandor Martin. Teofimo Lopez and Cruz hold the other belts. If I'm Catterall, I'm going after the Teofimo Lopez fight. It's probably, the biggest fight commercially, maybe bar Devin Haney. For me, Catterall and Haney would be a bit of a stinker. I don't know if Catterall against Teofimo Lopez would be any different either, to be honest. But you know, I would be going after the Lopez fight probably for WBO honors. You know, I think that's a very winnable fight for Jack Catterall. I think Lopez, you know, he's very up and down in his performances. You know, he's 1 up, 1 down, tends to be the last few anyway. But I actually would back Jack Catterall to win that fight. I think he'd be up against it in the other fights. But you know, it's hard to say whether, you know, Josh Taylor's completely regressed or whether Jack Catterall is that guy, because, you know, Catterall looks great in flashes. I'd like to see him throw more combinations and go for it a bit more. I know he's a lot more positive. I was on record as to say before the fight I thought Jack Catterall would stop him late, and I also said I thought it would be a much better fight than the first one, with both men having such a chip on the shoulder. So yeah, it definitely was a much better fight this time around. You know, Jack Catterall was more aggressive, you know, sat down on his punches a little bit more. But that's probably where his engine went a little bit towards the end of the fight. And Josh Taylor's championship experience, I know Catterall's been in many 12-rounders himself, but, you know, Josh Taylor's fought at the highest level of the sport for most of his career. Really hasn't gone through the, you know, 20-0 that a lot of fighters go through before they get a real step up. You know, he was very well matched throughout his whole career. But yeah, for me, that's plagued him a little bit now, and he's just not as fresh as, you know, other fighters around his weight and his age. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I think Taylor he needs a win, really. You know, he's lost 2 in a row, but he's really lost 3 in a row. You know, maybe he just steps down a level for his next one just to, you know, get himself back in the position for a big fight. You know, for me, the fight that makes sense for Josh Taylor is the trilogy. But again, it makes no sense for me for Jack Catterall right now. He has to go and challenge for world honors now at 30 years old. So yeah, you know, it was a great fight. You know, great night of action. You know, much better than the first fight in Glasgow, which I think we all predicted unanimously that we would get that. But yeah, Jack Catterall's route is wrong. Let's go and get a world title now, at least challenge for honor. Let's see what else is out there. You know, Josh Taylor still put up a good fight. You know, showed an awful lot of heart. Was hurt multiple times. You know, probably just started a little bit too late, and, you know, obviously not on purpose, but probably just marred a bit by that inactivity over the last couple of years. You know, did look good for a long period in that fight, you know, but ultimately he was beat by the better man last night. So Taylor Catterall 2's in the books now. You know, leaning towards Taylor Catterall 3 at some point happening over the next couple of years. But at 33, it's how long Josh Taylor wants to go on for now, having achieved what he has in the sport. You know, lots of options there for Jack Catterall. Let's see what's next for himself. But great fight last night in Leeds. Let's roll on now to the 5v5 Queensberry versus Matchroom in Riyadh on Saturday.